Hi everyone, welcome to Final V3 new show.
Yeah, new show.
New show. Hi
Xalavier.
Yeah, just to be real clear up front, because you two are friends of mine, I did attempt to listen to one episode of the podcast, and I immediately felt
I'm so sorry.
dirty because I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I feel good about engaging with these people as content. I don't know if this should be in my ears. So I don't know what the format is and how this works, if you have one.
That's actually interesting because
I think that's great because that means that you know more about our show's format than you would if you actually listened to the podcast.
So there's an interesting inverse here, which is that the other podcast that I'm on, PST, is one that I listened to quite frequently before I knew any of those people. And then I met them, and then they invited me to be a host. So there's a real duo.
You got drafted.
That felt really dirty because there was a little bit of parasocial of an angle there. I felt like I knew those people before I knew those people. Very, very strange.
You what?
That's so foreign to my experience because even when I work on a game, once I work with a game, my brain puts it in the category of, oh, I've been a part of that production. So, for example, Skin Deep,
right?
The latest joint from Brendan Chung, he of Gravity Bone and changing the way we talk and think about game cinematography. I was so excited for that game. And then they hit me up to work with them a little bit on it. And I only did a little bit on the game. But that was enough for my brain to be like, now I don't need to play it. And I was like, no, but we were so excited for this before. And these are friends. We made it. We got to make a little bit of it. It help our friends, and now we can play it. It's like, nah, I'm not as interested.
I got a backlog and other stuff to play.
Yeah.
I in general find it very hard to play any game I've ever touched.
I was going to say, how do you feel about playing your own games? I've always wondered that about developers generally, but you especially, because you're a strange one.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it is the ultimate monkey paw for me, because I know some people who love playing their own games, but from basically the beginning, when I've touched a game in any development capacity, my brain says, this is no longer for play. When you play this, it is under duress. So I've made games that if I was a player would be my obsession. Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 3 would be something I wouldn't be able to shut up about for years. However, because I worked on it, I can't play it. Every time I make a game, I can't play it unless it is for testing purposes. And even then, I try to test as little as possible. I say because I would like to stay fresh and keep a player's perspective, but also because it is like having a hot butter knife pressed slowly into my skin.
Right. You love getting to make a thing by experiencing the worst possible version of it for 2 years before you release it.
I mean, even experiencing the good version of it. It's just, I know every twist. I have, and even in cases like Skin Deep, where I don't know every twist, just by having smelled the soup. I smelled the soup while it was being created. My horrible brain, which likes to attack me, says, this soup isn't for you. It is for the customers. Keep your dirty, filthy peasant hands off of it. I'm like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Cool.
You saw all the rats in the kitchen. That is what happened.
So this is Xalavier Nelson Jr.
We got introduced.
Normally we do the introductions at the end, but I like this more.
Yeah. Just felt right. He is the creative lead and owner of Strange Scaffold, the indie studio that I worked with for the Bass Reeves video. Sam has worked with them aplenty as well, and I'm probably forgetting a ton of shit. Sam, help me, please.
Yeah, you're forgetting like hundreds of shits.
Yes.
This apparently this guy has ruined a large swath of video games for himself by working on them.
Literally over 100.
One of the latest of which is Borderlands 4, which I am trying desperately. I am every day negotiating with my brain to say, I love Borderlands. I love Borderlands. So let me play Borderlands, please. And he's like, we can talk about it. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
The internal dialogue. That's beautiful. But yeah, wonderful game developer, wonderful person, wonderful friend.
Aw.
Yes.
Don't bank that compliment. Don't spend it all in one place. But no, it's yeah, that's him. Is there what are you? What else do you want people to know about you up front?
This is a really smoothly organized podcast, as I'm sure you can see. We've really hammered home the format.
We're gonna edit out everything except the last 30 seconds when we really get on a roll, and then say goodbye.
I mean, cut to the good part, right? Why show any part of Fortnite save the world when you've got Blitz Royale right there?
That's what we're saying.
You should boot up a game and it just says you got a victory royale. Just cut out all of the fat, you know?
You don't, and you wouldn't feel cheated.
No, you would feel accomplished because you got here.
Yeah. I think that the only way that works is if a bunch of people don't get a victory royale and you are shown their home address.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. You should be able to I think we should take local matchmaking to the next level here. Like every single address should be within driving distance.
You're just describing Pokemon Greg again. Or Greg Go again.
I am. We haven't pitched Xalavier on Greg Go.
We can't keep fucking pitching people on Greg Go.
What is Greg Go?
Can I do the 5 second version? I'm going to do the 5 second version. All right.
I'm going to count 5 seconds.
All right. This is the pitch. All right. Pokemon Go, but it's about getting Greg. Any Greg, any day.
Beep.
Yeah.
Beep.
All right. So what do you think? Elevator pitch over. What do you think?
Okay. Is Greg? I didn't hear the entire pitch. We are looking
for publishers, so...
Yeah, I didn't get to hear the entire pitch for unknown reasons, but is Greg a real man? Are you just trying to find a Greg in like your area code?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, well, I mean, you enter your name whenever you set up. So if you're Greg, then you're Greg.
Yeah.
That means that it's very open exploitation. Anyone could be a false Greg.
We would know.
Well, I mean, we would know, but also, I mean, like, if you want to opt into being Greg, then that really is on you, man. It's not a desirable position to be in.
Greg's in the eye of the beholder. But we have to move on to other subjects.
Everyone is Greg.
Because this has happened so many times now. This has happened so many times.
You just bring people on and they just get you talking about Greg again.
This entire thing is just a front to trying to get people to fund Greg Go, and it has not been working out. But speaking of projects and hundreds of them,
that's good.
And looking for funding and having people and locking people in a box and fucking telling them what to do and posting home addresses and shit. Julian had a question for you.
Wow. Thank you. All that just to throw me under the bus. Yeah. Hi, Xalavier.
Hi.
I have been taking on questions. A lot more. Don't talk over me. I've been doing a lot of...
I'm glad I didn't watch the show before. It's very fun to participate in. And because I participate in it, I won't listen afterwards.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Recently, I have been taking on a ton of new side projects lately, in addition to just trying to keep up the flow of making videos. And it is incredibly overwhelming and hard. And it was hard enough to just do the one thing. And every time I talk to you or think about you or see the logo of Strange Scaffold, it kind of makes me a little mad. Because I know that whatever it is I'm doing, it's a fraction of the stuff that you have taken on any given day. And I don't understand how you function that way.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions from people who are like, how do you do so much? And how do you balance the work life? And I always feel uniquely unqualified to answer that in contrast to you. And so we've decided to corner you.
You seem to have at least a few different approaches to scheduling things out, to making time for things, whereas Sam and I feel like we are always like trying to catch up.
And keep in mind, you can just say built different and hang up the call, and that would be fine.
Yeah, but I was just very curious to get your perspective on this specifically, especially as my own perspective on the thing has changed.
Also, speak for yourself, Julian. I'm on top of my shit 24/7. Everything is going.
Of course, yeah. Now, if there's one thing I know about Sam, it's that he's always on it. Mm-hmm. He got everything together.
Sam deals with no existential distress, which would interrupt the progress of any project that he's associated with.
Right.
He's doing great. Why do you keep asking?
Yeah.
I want to see zero comments asking about how Sam is generally.
Yeah.
No one ask.
I am always surprised at how much Sam manages to, even when life throws its biggest boulders at him, make things happen and find new ways of thinking about himself and projects. So that is a compliment you should spend all in one place, because it's not the biggest one, but it is one of the things
Oh, that means a lot.
It is one of the things I attach to you in my brain of like, oh, this is a dude who makes things occur even when horrible things are falling all around us, and that is a very necessary skill, particularly in this time, in the interest of being only very slightly helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a very nice dodge of the question.
No, I appreciate that. I owe most of my career to having things happen when the horrors happen and making the bad things not other people's problem.
You are exceptionally good at that.
But to not dodge the question, the way that my brain works and the way I'm able to juggle so many things is building my life around the life I would like to live, which sounds very simple, but is, first of all, under capitalism, it is quite hard to find a situation in which you can effectively do that. And second, we are also not primed to think about who we are and how we work best at what we need, and to make compromises and choices around that, if only because we're very contradictory beings.
I was going to say, you say that sounds simple and straightforward, but if someone were to ask me, oh, how do you simply arrange your life around the life you'd like to lead? What? Oh, yeah, no, yeah, okay, sure, I'll get on that.
It sounds like the most insulting thing a grandparent would tell you, equivalent to, yeah. If you want a job, you should just take your resume to the game store and tell them you're looking for work. That will get you a job, actually. That's not the way it works. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I realized I've realized at this point that I've dodged so many bullets of lives I could have lived and things I could have done that would have led to me being a less whole, satisfied, and happy person, just because those possibilities got eliminated for me forcibly from orbit outside of my control, for which I thank God. And as a result, yeah, I've had a lot of opportunities to observe myself and the people around me, and I would just kind of take little notes all the time of, I really don't want to be stuck on one project. If I just had one project that I had, that my entire life rested upon, a magnum opus, even if I had the resources to pursue that, I actually don't think that would make me happy. And when I have that thought emanate from within my being, I pay attention to it and I say, okay, so I probably shouldn't do that. Or, extend it to personal stuff, relationships. I would find dynamics in certain relationships I was in, and I'd say, this isn't something I want, or this is something I want. Or I'd see people around me and say, I really respect how this person does this or that, or how they approach this thing or that thing. And considering that amalgam and realizing that some of these things are mutually exclusive, really awakened me to, again, the caprice of the human heart, where I would see people who were working on some of the biggest things in the world, things that people would kill to be associated with, while simultaneously looking across the road and being like, man, I wish I was doing some weird esoteric indie thing. And the weird esoteric indies were looking across the street at the other person. And even if neither of them would be happy in each other's position because they had not resolved within themselves, I am making a choice for the thing that I want, the thing that I love, the thing that, if not makes me the most happy, it makes me happier than this other thing. They just end up, even in an ideal situation, which they could be happy in, depressed because they weren't fulfilling this other goal they hadn't explicitly said no to. So a lot of strange scaffold, and also where my personal life has ended up getting assembled over time, is saying, for example, I'm a night person. I am a freaking night person. I'm not going to build a studio where the meetings start at 9 a.m. because that would be crazy. That would be absurd. Because especially if I run the place, Why would I do this to myself?
Well, but other people do it. So you just copy them and that will work.
And they did sell a lot of copies of their game. And if I do the things that they did, I'll make money. And the money will make me happy, right? Because money, when you have it, will make you happy.
Well, right. Because if you're like the people who made the thing you like, then you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, really confronting that landscape and by the grace of God, having a lot of different opportunities to see things from a bunch of different angles inside of publishers, inside of licensed teams and indie teams and AAA teams, and getting all of these different insights even now inside of stuff like Hollywood, the music industry. I'm like, oh, there's processes here and they create ecosystems. And that is why when I see something like the horrific cancellation of like the Wonder Woman game, or how like the Black Panther team got massively impacted, if not canceled. One of the things that goes through my head is not just, oh, this is sad. The nuance of time, and considering in my life and in the environments I've been a part of and the environments I've been able to witness and learn about secondhand, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is really sad. But is EA, for example, a place that could have, even in the best circumstances, let that game come out? I'm not sure that the answer is yes. If it is Warner Brothers, which has just done, I think, the third or fourth restructure in the last year.
Good God. I did not know about that.
Is Warner Brothers a place where even if Wonder Woman was a perfect project, could it actually have come through that pipeline and emerged and been okay? I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the terrifying thing, is realizing that a lot of the success, especially that occurs in games specifically as a medium, is not enabled by its ecosystem. It is an outlier that everyone tries to, in hindsight, build a story around and then pursue, and then get surprised when, for example, Peak, which just came out, is the latest game from Aggro Crab and Landfall. That entire game only comes really from those two teams and the way they think about games and the way they live their entire lives. And a bunch of people are going to try to make games like Peak, potentially even in ways like Peak, without having potentially even the life that they want to live that aligns with that. And so they end up, even if they make a successful game, miserable, and they wonder why. And it's like, well, you didn't consider the story behind it. Mm-hmm. And that's part of why I talk so much about, even in the Bass Reeves video, as horribly vulnerable as that was, the stories behind our things. Because without that, because games, which is allergic to transparency, gives you a bunch of success stories that are missing the first 10 chapters.
Yeah.
And thereby cratering your life in the process.
Yes. Man, this guy's so good at communicating. Pisses me off.
He's in the room.
I pissed off a lot of people in rooms I've been in. I'm trying to figure it out and heal.
You talked all of that as a way of highlighting that like the reasons that you've decided to work on so many things in parallel is interesting in the context of El Paso Elsewhere, which I know was not your choice to become the primary focus of the studio at the time that it was. And if that's still a little deep, a little touchy, then we don't have to get into it. But I am curious as to your thoughts, and knowing that at the time, at least for a time, that was one of, if not the only game in production at the studio. Like how that changed, whether that changed anything, how that felt different compared to what you were doing before, and especially have doubled down on since, working on all these different projects all at the same time.
So the nice thing was I had a beaming golden light emerging through a cracked door, and that cracked door was labeled, "You have been forcibly ejected from the games industry." And I at first was very scared of the door. The door had a weird menacing hum behind it, but soon I realized that the hum was actually a chorus. It was a chorus of angels calling me home. I could leave, and El Paso would come out, and I would no longer have to run a game studio. I would go to Whataburger and I'd apply for an assistant manager position, and then if I did a really good job, I think within a few years I could hit manager, and then within a few years after that, potentially even regional manager of a chain of Whataburgers. And I was locked in.
Yeah.
I was locked into a future full of reasonably priced Texas sandwiches.
I would argue with you on that, but you're going somewhere, so we're not going to touch on that.
Yeah, I think that's the important part.
Right. He's getting into regional stuff here, and it's like I'm very opinionated. We need to not get in. We need to move on from Whataburger. You're going to upset me.
I do think Whataburger is a little expensive, but it is higher quality? Question mark?
You're
higher quality.
I'm begging
pre-gaming
you.
your
I'm
job
begging
interview
you.
with Whataburger. You're still looking for that light.
I'm begging you to talk about the games industry instead of Whataburger. I am going to be mad. Please.
He's not going to shit talk Whataburger, all right? That's still the backup. Let him
I
finish.
will, though.
Let him
I
finish.
will, and I'm trying not
Xalavier,
to.
I'm protecting you.
10
Finish.
words. Can you just tell me how you feel in short about Whataburger? If you vent, it will. You'll be free of it.
Cost too much. Tastes good. Feel like shit afterwards, though.
Oh, that's good. That was succinct. This guy's great at communication. Makes me want to fucking find his house and kill him. Wow.
Dude, we gotta develop Greg Go. We can make this a reality.
No. Not no to Greg Go, but to the idea of killing Julian, who I really respect as a human being. The idea basically being ejected from the games industry because it has no loyalty for anyone, which is something that we have really had the opportunity to witness over the past few years, was a kind of a very freeing once I went through ego death. But having that complete breakdown occur in 2023 and everything else set me up for the life I have now, where I really got back in tune with who I am and what I wanted to be. I don't think I'd be married now if I hadn't gone through that experience, because there was so much of my identity caught up with the idea of what games is and offers and can or should be. Encountering a scenario where I could be no longer a part of that ongoing narrative or story because of the benign neglect games offers all of the people who work inside of it, even if players crave what those developers build, put me in a position to live the more full life that I do now. I play bass now. I
didn't know.
Have a strong church community and friends inside and outside of games. I see myself as more than a game developer, and that is not something that was true before El Paso. So to wind that all the way back and actually directly answer your question, El Paso itself was not really a scary object. It was a deadline. It was a deadline of would I continue to be in games or not. And honestly, a little bit before it came out, I learned I would still be in games. Faisal Sethi from Frosty Pop, I was telling him about Life Eater, and I was like, this is the game I'd make probably next if I don't entirely get ejected out of games, and I'd be able to make it really tightly scoped and make this really impressive, meaningful, vicious little thing. And that's good because no one would be able to stop me from making it because it would be so small and efficiently built and no one in games would fund it. And he thought for a second, he said, well, I would do that. And now we've worked together on a bunch of games. And that was the first place where my brain went, damn it. But it's also a good example of, even at the time of El Paso Elsewhere, because things were so bad and because I was doing double, triple overtime on so much freelance, I was still living a multi-project life. There was still a variance of the philosophy of living in tune with my values and the philosophy I wanted to embody that was occurring. It was just happening under deep duress that made me increasingly happy for the end of the journey that then was taken out of my hands for good and for bad.
I mean, you get the employee discount if you work at Whataburger.
Well, we got awesome video games out of it, so I'd say that it's a good thing because that's what matters.
Yeah, as long as the games came out and are good. Like if
you can't make that joke. I don't know. I can definitely. I mean, fucking Xalavier, you know better than anyone. I can relate to the. At some point, I don't have to give up in order to be released from the burden of continuing. thing.
Yeah.
And then having that taken away for better and worse. And it's, I don't know. Do you think like healthy is a really weird word to try to apply to the experience of like having let go of everything and being forced into that position? But how do you feel about that experience now? Because it feels like asking someone who is healed from like a grave injury, are you glad that happened, even if it like left them with a greater outlook on life?
Do you smile at the bullet wound?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how to fucking answer this question. People ask it to me, so I'm shoving that responsibility onto my friend, so he can be burdened with more.
And that's one thing we know Xalavier needs is more burdens.
Mm-hmm. I
more
love
things
a
to juggle.
burden. Burdens are so. If I survive the burden, then the game comes out, and of course the game will be good, because if it wasn't good, then all that time was wasted.
Right. And that doesn't happen. We don't like that. We forget about those stories.
In all seriousness, I think, honestly, this is where a lot of your personal philosophy and what you believe and how you conceive of the universe comes in. I, very early on, weirdly enough, some of this is my faith, but a lot of it is actually my parents, because I talked to my dad, who's gone through a lot of stuff, and he's had a heck of a journey himself, and a heck of a journey of discovery and of trying to become and be a better person, which is inspiring when it is your parent. And you tend to start to think of your parents as static entities. But I would talk to him about, especially when I was young, do you wish that you hadn't done this? Or do you wish this thing hadn't happened to you? And he said, I can't and I wouldn't change anything, because then I wouldn't be here. And I love you kids and your mom and stuff. And that stuck with me. It ruined every time travel story for me, or at least made me shout at the screen, stop! No, you're just going to learn that you should have left things alone. Right. But yeah, that really stuck with me as something that I go, it was really bad. But life is about the experience of accruing wounds. And and what you do with those wounds, and how you attempt to avoid those wounds in the life, help others avoid those wounds in their life, and cultivate a resilience, so when they do inevitably experience them, they continue and they find a way to not let those wounds become the thing that is their identity. All of that has become really core to me as well.
No, it makes sense, and it's something that's the most annoying fucking thing to hear in the entire world when you are going through something very actively, if you haven't seen what the other side looks like before, because it just sounds like someone saying, actually the suffering's just good. The suffering part is not the good part. It
sounds uniquely grind set, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like misplacing where the value comes from, when like the value is in the struggle of overcoming, not the struggle of having things inflicted upon you. Maybe
I wouldn't even say the struggle of overcoming, respectfully. I'd say that the value is in the processing. What happened to you sucks. The person who did it can and should be made Greg, and we will hunt him down in time in a just society. But the processing that you do and who you are in spite of that event, retaining the equilibrium and the core of you, is a lot of where at least I've landed in trying to healthily process those events, because it can be, among other things, really easy to become bitter. There was
my God,
a couple of years. I would say I'm only just now starting to get on the other side of struggling with the ideas of, hey, friends and games, you didn't pick me up when a single drop of water from your cup would have saved my life, you bastard. And getting through that event and on the other side, and the processing of it is really, I think, the key of where, again, I'm landing, of saying this is a bad thing that happened, but regardless of any responsibility someone may or could have taken over, for example, saving me from a hell year, what matters is how I'm processing it and how I'm treating people today. it doesn't matter how awful someone was to me yesterday, as much as I might even feel fairly about that, if I'm a jerk to my wife or project something onto my coworker tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that, whatever happened, my responsibility is to maintain an equilibrium and be a better person.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it feels like
No, you go on. I was going to pivot a little bit, but please.
No, I was just going to say, so, like, it feels like the essential thing then is like creating space for processing the bad shit and having people around that can help, because holy fuck, if you don't have the chance to ever come up for air, I feel like that's when things get really bad. The thing that scares me the most is like the people who disappear in the middle of that process, whether they are like forced out of the industry in the game specific context or other things. But yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't be here if not for like during some of the worst times in my life, like if I hadn't had conversations with you, Sam, and with a lot of friends who made time and space for me, even to sometimes process incorrectly and then think about the conversation that I just had. And I was like, I think that actually wasn't as healthy as I thought that was. Let me roll that back a little.
Yeah.
I agree. Julian, what's your fucking trauma processing take? What's your hot trauma processing take?
Well, I was trying to find words to add on to what you were saying, and then you just kind of put me on the spot before I was ready. So I think we should invest more in the podcast because we've really got something here. Shit. 1 second. I'm trying to think, because there is something I wanted to say that's more than just, damn, you're right.
We can make it into a whole joke again, just like
yes, we can deflect with comedy so as to avoid actually addressing the serious subject matter. My favorite.
Yeah.
Now there is something to be said about like the incorrect processing of things that have hurt you. I mean, like for a long time, I've one of the things that I really struggled with was just like conflating like holding a grudge and like hating something with like self-expression, you know? It's very easy to confuse like expressing yourself and how a thing has hurt or wronged you with not letting it go and letting that define you, become a part of your personality.
That is one thing I've noticed with player interactions over time, actually.
Oh?
Where one thing I sometimes deal with, my default when a player comes at me or my developers and collaborators sideways is just speaking to them very humanly, just being like, so, hey, yeah, you dealt with this bug. There was a lot of expletives. There's a lot of personal statements about my lineage and whether or not it is legitimate. So where are you at? What do you need from this? How are you encountering this? Not customer service voice, because customer service voice is, I am convinced, one of the reasons why American society has become an increasingly toxic hell pit, because in terms of not recognizing laborers in a variety of departments and segments of life as human beings, because we're literally told you operate upon a script and treat the real people as good no matter what they do to you, and we tell the rest of the people, hey, they are while they wear this uniform, you can do whatever, and that creates really weird social dynamics. But like addressing them,
customer service voice feels very much like fake sympathy as opposed to what you're describing, which sounds more like real empathy.
Yeah, trying to come alongside a player who's very hostile and just responding to them very, very directly, very sympathetically, but also not from a position of, oh, I'm sorry, your game experience a problem.
It's right.
It seems like you're dealing with something. What's going on here? And finding them talking to an actual human being, just seeing those walls kind of crumble down, and it's just like, man, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to get any. I've been doing all this overtime at work, and I finally had time to play this game I was really excited about, and I can't play it. And it was the one thing I was looking forward to. And in that moment, you can just be like, yeah, that sounds really, really awful. We can't fix this bug right now, because of X, Y, or Z reason, or we'll need these materials to fix it, or we can't fix it because your computer or your machine doesn't have the specs. But I do see you in this, and try to resolve the problem however you can.
Yeah.
And finding people are actually way more understanding of that manner of communication than I ever would have expected. Telling people we can't fix this week because actually we're working on another game. We're a small studio. We have limited resources, but we will make it a priority to look into this next week. Someone has just been spoken to like a human being and responds accordingly. And it makes me, honestly, if I can do a hot take on this podcast, deeply depressed that, especially when it comes to AAA, where there are so many human beings involved in the process. It is an indie versus AAA, one where the sincerity exists and one where it doesn't. AAA is filled with so many talented, empathetic, good, skilled people working under their constraints to try to make cool things. The fact that they have been told, if you saw the Marathon update, for example, phrase everything in terms of, we're just really trying to be better for you players. We're just really trying to fulfill greater engagement and stronger retention.
We're taking steps internally to correct
because we have personally wronged you. It is actively reducing the ability for those games to, in the way that people can really identify with indie games, say, no, this isn't a game for you, actually. I'm sorry for that. I know you love the aesthetic of it, for example, but we're making this thing for the people who do love this thing. Here's how we're altering it to try to make it the best version of itself from our perspective as artists. There's not the necessary wall of intent and how you approach that respectfully from both sides, as a creator and as audience. That means you have just people constructing dev cycles that go into the hundreds of millions of dollars, interacting with people on uwu mode, and of course those human beings,
we're coining it,
treat it with disdain because it's inherently ridiculous. There is something out of order.
Real quick, Marathon update talking about gameplay critiques, not the art thing. Sorry, listeners, players.
The gameplay thing, not the art thing where they plagiarized, and that was awful.
Yeah.
No, I think generally people, whenever it comes to any kind of customer service, and especially whenever something goes wrong with the thing that they paid for, are so conditioned to be fighting an uphill battle against people who feign sympathy in order to get them out of their hair, that whenever they are engaged with like a person, it's strangely disarming,
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel like a conversation usually. And so whenever you do the bare minimum, it feels like going above and beyond. And not to discredit, and I don't mean to make this sound easy as hell, because I mean, there is a reason that everyone defaults to treating things the way they do. And it's because customers have been conditioned to treat people in the service industry like filth. And it can take a lot from a person emotionally and mentally to address directly every single person who runs into a problem with a thing that they're maintaining. I mean, all three of us are very familiar with that. The maintenance and upkeep of a thing that is released for people is really hard and very mentally and emotionally taxing.
It sounds like you're mostly talking about in terms of the dynamic. Like, these are a lot of downstream consequences of the alienation of developers and players, at least in this case, that have like kind of gone unexamined for a minute.
The alienation of people in general.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It goes beyond the games industry. The games industry is just a very good microcosm by which we can look at it from.
The Steam forums are the only place.
Yeah.
I think that this is honestly part of the reason why people also engage so fervently with content creators in the modern media landscape, if I can use corpo language. Because if you tell a streamer or a content creator, go F yourself. I don't know if we can use profanity on this.
You can say whatever you want.
If you tell a streamer or a content creator, go F yourself, then
Billy, I'd like you to censor fuck, but only that one time.
I didn't even say fuck. I just said it in a really weird,
no, he said
way.
it. That's why Billy censored it.
Fantastic. But one of the things that is, I think, a part of this dynamic is if you tell a content creator or a streamer, hey, go fuck yourself, there's a very good chance the creator will tell you, no, go fuck yourself. This is the thing I wanted to make. And people go like, they drink in the sincerity.
So real.
And the barefacedness
so
of that
real for
reaction. Like liquid, gaseous cocaine. It's just airborne now. And they're just going, oh, you're real. I respect your opinions and only your opinions. I will sacrifice my newborn to you.
I'm always saying that to Julian.
Yeah,
Right.
It's what I was started to say as I was listening to the podcast for the first time, and that's why I stopped.
Right.
So
Yeah. You've got more self-control than most of the people who listen to this thing. Thanks. You can support us on Patreon, by the way, at finalv3.zip.
Not a zip bomb, it's a website.
it's really good. The zip bombs, I mean, not the website.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but we don't have those though.
yeah, that's why I'm making a statement on purpose.
Yeah. We often do this.
So yeah, I think that like when you're interacting with the personality and you have a relationship where you can say fuck yourself to each other and hopefully exist in a mutual state of some respect or being like, a guy told me to go fuck myself, but I like what he does and sometimes I'll watch it. Contrast that to what a giant media corporation will do and how they will always use language of service. We are trying to serve you. We didn't serve you properly. We didn't meet your expectations.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, sometimes they made a piece of art that didn't connect with people, or in another more likely scenario, we didn't make the thing that you wanted, but we did make this other thing for these reasons because they grovel instead. The audience has no vocabulary for speaking to or regarding them as human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corporal language hurts everyone.
Yeah.
No, it's the mandate of the punching bag that we all take upon ourselves when we start releasing games, and it sucks and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If people are going to get pissed at you anyway, I feel like they should get pissed at you for a good reason. Then they still don't. They still find bad reasons to be pissed at you. And sometimes it hurts more.
It's tough because I understand why people default to it, right? Because corpo speak is a very good tool for not being genuine. And if you're not being genuine, then when people respond to you with venomous vitriol, you don't feel as
I like
bad because you're not really, because that wasn't really you. You're doing your customer service thing. Whereas if you come in and you're like, you try and you very earnestly address their concerns and you put yourself out there a little bit and you engage with them as a human being to a human being and they still come at you, that sucks more. Speaking from experience, I mean, both in terms of the public YouTube space and whenever I did service, I really did try to go above and beyond the corpo speak a lot of the time, and that backfired as often as it went right. I mean, if it's tough.
It's exhausting to maintain.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you that we should be striving not to talk like machines, but God, if I don't understand why people do it.
Yeah. We actually kind of ran into that a little bit recently talking about the follow-up to I'm Your Beast, because just to let people know this is something that's still in our minds and in our hearts, we said, hey, we're going back to the tool set of I Am Your Beast and that gameplay dynamic to do something cool there. And people went, oh, cool, sequel. And I had to have the conversation with people on forums like our Discord of no, not a sequel. We're doing something in a different setting with a different main character that's exploring these dynamics in a different way that I found personally creatively exciting and opened up a lot of doors for us to do unique things that I Am Your Beast 2 wouldn't necessarily have accommodated. And there was some people who really engaged with that on the level of oh yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to see what you all choose to do. And then there was people who were just what they want right now is I Am Your Beast 2. And they just want that. And that's also a fair reaction. But dealing with kind of the swing between those things, when you are real, for lack of a better term, you're extremely vulnerable. And I'll be honest, even with this game, we're really excited to make on the foundation of I'm Your Beast 2. Having both sides of the spectrum represented does make me go on a fairly regular basis, man, is this a mistake? Should we just be doing Alphonse Harding kicks a guy's ass again? And I don't doubt that we will eventually go there, but at least right now, I try to hold on to, speaking about that equilibrium. This is what I really care about. This is what the team really cares about. I have to trust that at least a significant number of people will, when they see the thing and play it, find yet more things to love there too.
Yeah. It's interesting because like there is a common wisdom in like, you got to find the thing that's a hit. This is a little bit of a different direction. But you got to find like the thing that's a hit and then mine that vein until it's fucking dry. And I feel like all three of us have not done that, but at least in my case, potentially sometimes
very
to my
actively
detriment.
avoided that. Yeah, no, same. Yes.
Same here.
So good
the
idea.
Amount of times
bad
that
idea.
the amount of times that Sam and I have, in moments of personal distress, come to each other and been like, "Can you imagine how much money we could make if we just gave up on our morals?"
It's not even no. It's not even morals. It's I'm talking literally on the level of like, if after Desktop Goose had came out, I made 300 desktop toys and just pumped those out until that became my whole thing, and I became
morals is the wrong word, but I'm trying to figure out.
It's like the value of wanting to express in a myriad of different ways.
Artistic integrity.
Well, I mean, again, like even that.
Artistic desire, maybe. Like this is the thing you wanted to do. Instead of make a bunch of highly profitable desktop toys, I also have some egg on my face for a variety of games in that regard. Or things I'd even seen, or opportunities, or I could have invested in this. And I don't know if this also works for you. Do you find the personal planted flag of, but I did do something else though. I did do something else cool. I did learn something else instead. Does that provide you any framework of positivity or support, or are you sitting there cursing what could have been?
You first, Julian.
I mean, for me, I just like, I suppose a version of that is something that I fall back on, but it's much more simple for me, and it's just that like, well, what I'm doing right now is fun, so that's enough.
It's harder when you aren't doing anything fun though. And that's tough because that's when these thoughts appear usually. But I have to just sort of convince myself that like, well, you started this because it would have been more fun than the other thing. That would have been no fun, and you would have hated every part of it. And I'm usually that's usually enough. I've learned that lesson the hard way enough times.
Yeah. For me, it's like the thing that I enjoy the most is the process of exploration and solving new problems. And so one of the reasons it's difficult to me to like return to a thing that I've already done is because I've already done the difficult, interesting part of it. And so coming back feels like I'm not doing anything, which is bad. And I'm trying to find a balance with that because it does mean I'm leaving a lot on the table. But I also think that realistically, if I had tried to do that and push myself into that, I probably would have burned out. And if I like the career that I have now partially only exists because the thing that I'm known for is not being the desktop toy guy or like whatever other thing, is for being the guy who like does weird things generally, as far as I'm aware. And so, in moments where everything's not on fire, it's really easy for me to make peace with because this is, I want to creatively spend my time exploring things and trying new difficult things versus just doing a product for people clapping at me that I made an otter on your desktop and he's a little sealed.
Right. And in time, if you like, it's fully possible that in time you will find a way to come back to as you put it, all the potential, everything you're leaving on the table, but rushing into it before you're ready, because it just seems like the easy thing to make a quick buck is, I think, like the mistake to be made. I'm trying really hard to think of a more eloquent way of putting this.
Sometimes that doesn't happen.
I will say there is something really cool and powerful in returning. You can't return to that exact opportunity space. So say that position of profit may be very different now,
or just
if not extinct. But you coming back to a space as even a slightly different person
Right.
can be intensely exciting. So I recently announced El Paso Elsewhere 2 is coming. And that was not in development after El Paso 1. I configured an idea of what it would be. I tried to pitch it. It still didn't end up getting taken. And so I said, you know what? What we will do and what we have the space to do sustainably is things that are not of that scale. It resulted in things like I Am Your Beast. It resulted in things like Creepy Red Dinosaur Mansion 3. I don't regret that decision, even if there was, with like movie heat, a opportunity to be had around really trying to go down that road and push that as far as it could. But once I reopened that door, once we did find a path of like, oh, actually, there's a way El Paso 2 can happen in a way that it doesn't destroy Strange Scaffold in the process.
Right.
I'm so glad I didn't make it at the time and didn't get that funding, because it's the processing, right? Of like, oh, El Paso 2 would have been cool. The version of El Paso 2 I can make now as the person I am now, I think is so much cooler. I am so invigorated by that creative process of coming back and, to a degree, without the same investment, kind of just like looking sideways at El Paso and who is James Savage and what does he become next and what does this storyline say, and going, oh, I can cook here. I can cook here in ways I couldn't before and wouldn't have thought to. And that's really exciting. It's one reason I think this is a little bit of a side tangent, so feel free to not pursue it. But like the ways that large corporations are right now not just saying make sequels, make spin-offs to existing IP, but also keep them within the same general box the IP has been in with it before is so depressing.
Yeah.
Because you even sometimes do have the opportunity of Brad Bird coming back to Incredibles 3. I hope that thing turns out well, but I'm a little scared. Because the idea of saying, make another Incredibles, but don't change what Incredibles can mean is one of the worst assignments you can be handed if that is what they end up handing him.
Yeah.
I mean, on the flip side, I don't know if either of you can really add to this, but I do. This is why I find large-scale AAA projects that do break that mold so exciting. Like, I mean, Doom is a recent example where, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of very different feelings on that game, and I think that they are all valid, and there are many reasons to like and dislike it. But the fact that they are changing the way the game plays significantly with each release is, to me at least, exciting enough, because that's more than can be said for a lot of the big IPs in the space right now. It's more than a lot of creative projects will be allowed.
I'm one of those people who was like, Doom Eternal is not for me, but it is undeniable that Doom Eternal and Ultra Kill have created an entire new vocabulary for, or at least a renewed attention towards a vocabulary of what a first-person shooter can be.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Doesn't exist otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. I would be far, as much as I like 2016, I would be far more disappointed if Eternal and Dark Ages played a lot like 2016.
So then maybe this is the answer to the beginning question of the podcast, which is like, in terms of how do you structure your creative fucking life?
Not even the question I asked, but yes.
If you that's the second question that we fucking ended up at.
Uh-huh.
All right, calm down. I'm doing something here. We're coming up on the hour mark. I'm trying to give this thing some structure. All right, let me cook. I'm not the same person I was an hour ago. We're returning to whence we came. There's a lot of thematic stuff happening.
Yeah.
Listener, I'd like you to lean back in your seat as Sam attempts to give Final V3 some structure.
This is a final episode. We're not coming back after this, so it really counts what I say here. But yeah,
we're quitting, by the way.
It seems like the thing that and in that spirit, the thing that we keep coming back around on is like, for all three of us, kind of like, how do you make space to change in your practice and as a person in a way that doesn't suck for you and leads you to new realizations about your practice and what you want to make in yourself and the Doom franchise. and other such IP.
I think you kind of nailed it in the structure of the question. I'm not sure if the question is over, but one of the things you said was
I could barely follow it.
one of the things you said was in a way
Sorry.
that doesn't
Xalavier gets me.
sometimes, but the one of the things you said was in a way that doesn't suck for yourself, and I think that is so fascinating as even just an exploratory directive of what is art supposed to be, capital A art. The idea that Doom keeps changing in these ways because that is the version of it that doesn't suck for at least some of the people on the team. It keeps getting more cutscenes that I don't care about because that is the fulfillment of someone's dream. Is something that even if I don't dig it, it's something I have a huge amount of respect for and acknowledge as part of what keeps creative spark alive and means that these developers are making something as opposed to fulfilling the Whataburger order I put through, in which I am guaranteed a delicious burger that will make me feel good afterwards. That is not the intended role of almost anyone outside of like food service. So I massively respect and support that planted flag, and that is why we're doing a follow-up to Space Warlord right now. We're not just doing follow-ups, we're also doing original stuff, but there's a lot of ways that we're returning to old tech bases or IPs, old being relative, and saying, what can we do now, actually? What does that look like? How is that transformative? And really grasping that and saying, how we transform it, how I transform it, is a matter of expressed agency in a world in which there isn't much. And if I can find the right ways to communicate about that, and maybe even help give others the permission to do the same, we all get to say something and do something that is meaningful for us, and to have that exist as part of a wider journey that would be stymied otherwise, that would be shoved into the little box marked, have you fulfilled the franchise pillars?
Yeah.
Every day we get to define who we are, and that should extend to our creative efforts too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely follow up any given thing with a sequel so long as you fulfill what it means to you, because that's what made the original thing, hopefully, interesting in the first place. And so
I'm just sitting.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you finish.
I mean, like if you were to have made, I am, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like if you were to have created a sequel to El Paso 2 back whenever the first one came out, then it might not have necessarily been as interesting, because like you made the game you wanted to make already. It was El Paso Elsewhere. Now you can do something else with that formula, and it won't be the same exactly. And that's why it's exciting. It's because the question isn't how do you make a sequel to El Paso, it's how do you make El Paso 2 a different new thing.
And the original always exists for the people who want to do that. And that's why it's nearly criminal for things to get removed from existence in favor of new iterations. And second, why I feel so passionate about bringing it back to agency again and again and again.
Yeah.
If we don't center the people and where they go next, then you're free to have it. Goes back to the fuck you principle. If
Such is life.
There's a lot of, say, filmmakers who, like, I love their earlier works and don't love the things they made afterwards. But I think it is a sign of human growth, or at least I hope it is, that as I especially get older, I'm saying, man, I don't love this thing, or maybe I don't love it right now, but that's the thing they chose to make next. And they aren't wrong for doing that necessarily. That is where they went next as artists, and where they had the opportunity to go next because of the structures and ecosystems they're in. And that means...
And you'll find other things to like, right?
Yeah. If you care to discover, that's one reason I actually really appreciate some of the things that you do, Julian, which is I don't see you go into a hole and then get increasingly jaded there as you experience things that don't fit your definition of what that whole should be. I'm seeing you discover stuff still consistently, despite an audience who does enjoy seeing you be mean and opinionated about things. And that is something genuinely to celebrate, and that I know is hard to do when you've got so many people spurring you on to like take the next thing apart. I respect it a lot.
I do really appreciate that. You've hit the nail on the head about something that it took myself a very long time to figure out. And funnily enough, I was whenever we had RJ and Dan on, was one of the things that helped me figure that out about myself, which is that I enjoy the discovery of making things above all else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fucking crazy that you just clocked me like that out of nowhere. But thanks.
If I was you, I would have clocked it about myself earlier. This is a learning opportunity.
And it is a race.
Yeah.
So.
Welcome to the Patreon Q&A part. We're doing the Patreon Q&A. Kato asks, and this is an interesting question because I'm not fully sure how to interpret it. We'll find the question in the answer. Kato asks, is nostalgia overrated or misunderstood?
Dude, I rolled my eyes so hard at that question.
it was a
physical reaction. I just wish it was phrased a little differently. No hate on the person who asked it.
Julian hates you so much, but I don't. Is nostalgia overrated or misunderstood? I think overrated is a word that I don't fully know how to parse here because
I don't
know how we rate nostalgia, but I do think that people's relationship with nostalgia is wacky. It feels like it is being used as a way to de-risk every project in games and media generally.
Not just games, yeah. Not just media anymore either.
Yeah, in society generally. Politically, it is being used as well, but we're not. That's outside the realm of the Final V3 podcast, is the way that nostalgia is deployed to motivate people to political action. I think that there is a reaction against it being used like that, where it's like we need to completely discard all the old shit that we like and have positive associations with and all looking to the past so that we can only look to the future. And I don't know, I think it's possible to have a relationship with nostalgia that is really cynical, and I also think it's possible to have a relationship with it where you get to like look at the past and filter out just the ideas that you like and then try to carry that forward. But realistically, that's not how it's being used.
This is welcome to the gaming centrist podcast, where we say that like both sides have a point if you think about it.
I think anyone that still likes Halo in 2025 should burn their computers. We're not getting into that. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. Yeah, I think it is a thing. Like any other thing that you can do something with, and if you're not a cynic about it, it can be artistically valid, but it is being abused societally in countless ways, which makes it very easy to get tired of. And that's kind of just where we're at. Yeah.
So I don't know. I really don't have much more to say on it than that. I think that there are good and bad ways to call back to thing that you like.
Yeah.
But
the thing that I think is going to be really interesting to look out for is when we start hitting the like Ouroboros thing, because like culture,
we're already there.
Cultural eras collapsed in the 2010s, kind of, especially with the internet, where like all aesthetics and information was pretty much universally accessible to everyone at every time. And so we've been moving through nostalgia cycles from like the nostalgia for the 70s to the 80s with the Stranger Things shit to the 90s with boomer shooter shit, and now we're getting back to the 2000s right now, where like it's the nostalgia is for like Windows Aero and all of that. We've moved on.
We're creeping on into the 2010s right now.
Yeah,
we're getting there,
and I have no idea what exactly happens there, but I think it's already begun, and it's gonna be really fun and scary to see what happens culturally. And I hope it's not just like nihilism, where it's just like we've decided nothing means anything anymore. But so look out for that. Look out for nostalgia for the nostalgia era. We're gonna get there.
I know a YouTuber who's kind of got like a and got his head on
He's
straight
very
about.
critical of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think you should forward your question to him. He's really the one who's cut out for this.
Yeah. OJ McMuffins asks, how come your little cardboard cutout man have short hair?
Man, these questions are for both of us. The fuck? What is Sam's? What's Sam gonna do with this?
How come
Fuck,
your little
man.
cardboard?
This isn't the Julian show.
How come your little cardboard cutout man has short hair?
Because when I drew him, he very vaguely resembled how I look at the time, and it's a different and it's not me, it's a persona, so I don't give a fuck if it actually looks like me or not.
Thanks for asking, OJ.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Hi, it's me this time. I'd say thank you to our Patreons. They include Carp _, Shulump, Chulump, the Big Money Wizard, Combustiblemon, Cosmo, Daxtery, Denji, Drew McIntosh, EXE Bill, Harrison Oakley, Holly Books, John Purdy, Leon Kiev, Lucky the Proto, Mark D. Hero, Nessie, Never Dream, OJ McMuffin, Roses and Patterns, Sad Toffee Sucks, Samuel Vanderplant, Spicy Nacho, TJ, The Darkened Rose, Toby, Tom Keeley, Trading Bar, Witty's Entertainer, and Wormy. To all of you, I say thank you, and I thank.